Everything you think you know about making a woman desire you is wrong. The more you chase, the more you confirm her suspicion that you are not worth her attention. Why? Because your attention is too abundant. It costs her nothing. It is not rare. It is not exclusive. It is background noise. If she is not interested, you cannot force her to desire you. You cannot text her into longing, and you cannot beg your way into her heart. Desire does not bend to effort. It bends to mystery. The harder you try to convince her of your worth, the more she slips away into indifference. But there is another way, a way that does not involve chasing, pleading, or betraying your self-respect. A way that makes her catch herself thinking of you, even when she swore she never would. This is not manipulation. This is understanding the laws of human psychology that most men never learn. Once you understand them, you stop being a background option. You become the man she cannot forget. Picture this, she replies slowly, if at all. When you ask her out, she is busy. The conversation feels empty, like you are talking about the weather. You try being sweeter, more available, more attentive, and she only grows colder. Every time you send another text, you are not drawing her closer. You are pushing her further. Every time you offer more of yourself without demand, you teach her that your attention is cheap. Imagine walking through a marketplace where vendors shout endlessly for your attention. You tune them out. Their voices become static. But the one merchant who stands silent, who watches, who does not beg, suddenly you wonder what he knows that the others do not. This is how her mind treats you. In today's world, she is drowning in male attention. Messages, compliments, likes. To survive the flood, her brain filters you out. She is not rejecting you because you are not enough. She is indifferent because you have given her no reason to notice the difference. How many times have you been that shouting vendor, offering discounts on your own worth? How many times have you lowered your value just to keep her gaze a moment longer? Every time you do, you bury yourself deeper in the noise. And until you learn scarcity, until you understand the power of contrast, she cannot miss you, because she has never truly felt the weight of losing you. Human beings are wired to notice contrast. We crave the rare and ignore the common. And when your attention is constant, it becomes invisible. Every time you flood her with presence, she learns to forget you. Every time you show up without pause, you erase your own mystery. The paradox is this. The less she sees of you, the more her mind begins to register your absence. Think of a room filled with constant music. After a while, you stop hearing it. But the moment it stops, the silence roars. Only when something is taken away do we feel its weight. Only in silence do we notice what sound once filled. The same law applies to your presence. Your absence creates a vacuum, and the human heart cannot tolerate emptiness for long. It searches for what once filled the space. Consider a table of executives. One man speaks endlessly, eager to be heard. Another stays silent, only speaking when the room has quieted. Who do they lean toward when he finally opens his mouth? The silent one, because his scarcity makes his words valuable. Your attention works the same way. How many times have you spoken too much, texted too often, explained yourself into weakness? How many times have you robbed yourself of value by refusing to let silence work for you? So if more effort makes her care less, what actually makes her start missing you? It is not noise, it is contrast. It is not abundance, it is scarcity. And that is where the real strategy begins. The first step is to disappear, not in anger, not in games, but in silence. No long speeches, no petty blocking, no theatrical exit. Simply vanish from her everyday life. Stop texting, stop orbiting her posts, stop being her backup plan. Withdraw quietly, as if you were never there. In the digital age, absence is louder online than in person. When your name no longer appears in her notifications, her brain notices. The familiar background hum is gone, and the human mind hates unfinished patterns. The absence plants a question mark in her thoughts. Every time you resist the urge to send that late-night message, you add weight to your absence. Every time you do not react to her story, you shift the balance of power back to yourself. It is not the noise you make that she remembers. It is the silence you hold. Picture this. She posts a picture expecting your comment, your like, your digital approval, but it never comes. At first, she shrugs, then she wonders, then she waits. This is how absence gnaws at the edges of her certainty. But here is the catch. Your disappearance must not look empty. It must look full. There is a vast difference between a man who vanishes into loneliness and a man who vanishes into purpose. One becomes a ghost, forgotten. The other becomes a myth, whispered about. Which will you choose to be? How many times have you pulled away only to collapse back into her orbit, proving you had nowhere else to go? How many times have you tried to disappear while secretly stalking her page, leaving digital fingerprints behind? That is not silence, that is disguise. And disguise always fails. True disappearance means your life becomes louder, richer, more vibrant without her. That is where most men fail, and where you will not. When you step back from her world, you must step deeper into your own. Do not sit in silence, refreshing her profile in secret. That is weakness disguised as patience. Instead, build a life so rich, so undeniable, that it pulls her thoughts toward you. Fill your days with training, with movement, with purpose. Surround yourself with friends who elevate you, with pursuits that sharpen you. Share glimpses of this life, not to prove anything, but because it is real. When she sees you thriving without her, two thoughts hit her. One, you are fine without her. And two, she wonders who is standing beside you now. That second thought is the seed of curiosity, and curiosity is the beginning of longing. Desire is not just about presence. It is about the echoes you leave behind. Think of the inside jokes, the songs you both laughed at, the strange phrases only you used. These become hooks buried in her mind. When she hears them again, they pull her back to you without effort. Every time she stumbles across that one song, she feels the ghost of your presence. Every time she hears a phrase only you used, she feels the tug of memory. These fragments are not accidents. They are weapons. You must learn to plant them with intention. Add to this the way you once challenged her thinking. Most men are dull mirrors, reflecting her back to herself. You must not be a mirror. You must be fire. Fire that burns through her assumptions. Fire that forces her to expand. The more you stretch her mind, the more she cannot return to the smaller world without you. Picture this. Two men speak to her. One agrees with every word, nods politely, and fades from memory. The other sparks a debate, provokes laughter, even irritation. But days later, she is still replaying his words. Which one does she remember? Which one does she crave? How many times have you been the dull mirror, nodding, agreeing, hoping that politeness would earn her affection? And how many times did it only earn you forgetfulness? When you disappear, she will not just miss your attention. She will miss the way you made her feel alive, the way you carved your presence into her thoughts so deeply that even absence could not erase it. Disappearance alone is not enough. You must re-emerge, but not too soon. 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how often you once spoke, is the range. Long enough for absence to sting, short enough that memory does not fade. When you return, do not explain, do not apologize. Show yourself as a man transformed, more confident, more focused, more certain. Speak with calmness, not neediness. Let her feel that you have been living well without her. The contrast between the man she once knew and the man who stands before her now is the fire that reignites her attention. Here is the final truth. This is not about one woman. This is about you. About becoming the kind of man who cannot be ignored, who leaves an impression without chasing, who commands respect without asking. Whether she returns or not, you have already won, for you have broken the pattern of desperation and stepped into the life of sovereignty. She will miss you, yes, but more importantly, you will never again be the man begging to be noticed. You will be the man who forges his own path, and in that path, others cannot help but follow.